the major division is between, let's say, Black Americans and Africans right now?
So generally, Black Americans, not until recently, Black Americans have been the biggest supporters of the progress of Africa, for Africa to be able to do well. They have always been. When people come out of Africa, when a particular person, say in any capacity, trying to make a difference, Black Americans have always amplified such individuals. Even as recently as the young man from Burkina Faso, you can clearly see if you go to IG, it was Black Americans trying to give a voice. Most Africans, especially the ones that live in diaspora, they don't give a damn. So Black Americans have always been at the forefront of trying to get Africa work. All right, they were the inspiration that gave rise to the independence in Africa. It was their leaders that inspired all the Kwame Nkrumah, all the people that you see revolted in their various places. It was Black Americans' inspiration. Now, why did Black Americans do that? They felt that these people who share the same melanin, because it is only normal, it is only reasonable to say, hey, these ones that belong on the other continent, that share the same melanin, it's only normal to say, hey, you're not doing so well, I want to encourage you to do well. Now they began to inspire Africa. They began to all the fights that they fought in America was to ensure that Africa can at least find way to come and become a natural allies with them. Those were the vision. But at the end of the day, you see people coming over to the America, rather than being natural allies to these people that supported you, that gave you light. You became adversary to them. You joined the real enemy. You want to please the enemy against them. So that this is the origin of the animosity. And even as far back as 10-15 years ago, Black Americans were not showing their discontent towards African. They were not. It was only recently, because Africans became far more emboldened in their assertiveness. They became quite insulting, they became quite abusive, they became condescending. Imagine coming into a space, disrespecting the natives, trying to please the real enemy, joining them, thinking is a competition. This was what resulted to them. They began to speak up because the thing became too much, and then they had to. Anybody would. It became so obvious that anybody would clearly see it. Then they began to speak up. So the idea of delineation has to happen, because clearly people who are supposed to be natural allies are joining the enemy. So why won't you delineate from them? So they don't understand alliance. It doesn't make sense to them. None of this makes sense to them. So the idea of alliance became a thing, and it has to happen, because that's the only way people can now begin to take accountability. That is the only way accountability can step in. Because without delineation, you can see somebody who is from Somalia. He will be saying, oh, you're punishing me, you're trying to send me out of America because I am black. No, you're not. You are Somalian. You committed fraud. You came in with nothing. You're stealing everything. Now you're trying to say you're black, just to run behind it, and then have all of us as a target. No, you are the target. You caused the problem. So these are some of the things that we must critically look at. Delineation is very, very, very important. That way we can see what each group is bringing to the table. Not using other people's identity, running behind other people's identity to act like, because most of these people, when they come back home here on the continent, they begin to call themselves Black Americans. Some of them pose, they try to look down upon some of us, because they come. These are some of it. That's why we need delineation, so that you know who you are right from the onset. So that you if you can't do something to improve where you come from, then the shame is upon you. Then that is what we want. We need delineation. Very, very important. Thank you.
right, my next question is.
No. You cannot hide that. Hold on. You cannot hide that. You can't just hide that. Hold on. That gotta let. That's not nothing you just gonna jump on real quick and just. That's something you gotta let marinate for a minute. Hold on. This brother gets it. Shout outs to my brother right here. Hold on. Yo, hold on. He gets it, family.
I argue that Mexicans were legally white and should not be subjugated to the same Jim Crow treatment as blacks. Latin Americans of Mexican descent belong to the Caucasian race and are therefore white, which is true. And I say, let the Negro fight his own battles. His problems are not mine. I don't want to ally with him. I know Negroes aren't given their full share of democracy, but frankly, I'm prejudiced against Negroes, and I do not believe that they are entitled to everything that we get. And we taught our kids the same thing. That's why they can play with you. I can't bring you home. We are a white race, and we should not be treated like colored people. I argue that Mexicans were legally white and should not be subjugated to the same Jim Crow treatment as blacks.
New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant.
Here was cracking. And as I always start off, ain't nothing new under the sun, right? So I actually wanted to touch on something because you know me, I'm always in my thoughts, right? So basically, we're going to talk about a few things, but ICE, the current illegal migrant situation from the migrant crisis that we actually went through over the last administration with Biden and Kamala Harris, aka the border czar, right? And two, delineation and the diaspora movement. Now, I first want to start off by saying that, and I know a lot of people might not believe this, however, I'm going to just say what I got to say and stand on it. Now, myself, and I would have to include all of my peers that I grew up with, actually do know what these immigrants, not the illegals, but we do actually know what immigrants are going through. And the reason that I say that is I want to start off by showing you this. So this was about 79, into 78 and 79, right? I was about 2 years old in that picture. Then if you see here, it's my mother, my father, you know, uncles, just assorted pictures. But I want you to pay attention to these right here, right? Just boom. All right, so those list of pictures that you saw, all of them were actually taken overseas. Now, both of my parents were active duty military when I was coming up, and my mother actually retired in 1994. I graduated high school in 95, and I actually had to finish my last year of high school because of some shit that went down. But I had to actually leave Italy and move to the Chi, south side of Chicago, and I graduated from Wendell Phillips High School Academy, which oddly enough was the same high school as my father. But I say all that to say this. As a military dependent, or what we call as military brats, basically up until my until my senior year of high school, I attended DODDS schools, which is a Department of Defense dependent schools. And in these times, I was either in Korea, which at that time I was still in like daycare, but Korea, the Philippines, Germany, and Italy. So in these times, I was a stranger in a foreign land. And one of the things that I remember clearly and vividly was when we first got to Aviano Air Force in Italy. And anytime our parents got a new assignment for a location, when we got there, you always have to do basically, it was like an incoming orientation, where, you know, they just give you a brief overview of the local customs, cultures, and what's expected of you as a visitor on foreign soil. So with us, because our parents were in the military, there was certain shit that you just couldn't do. Because if you did it, especially if you did shit off base and it caused where the local authorities had to get in contact with the Air Force base or Army base, wherever you were at, there were consequences and repercussions. And there's these things called Article 15. So most of our parents sat us down and was like, yo, don't get no shit. Why I got to end up getting a stripe snatched because you done fucked around and I had to find out. So that being said, I know exactly what it feels like to basically be an immigrant in another person's country. And I also know what I was taught and how we were taught to conduct ourselves, right? And there was no disrespect of the local customs, people, the population, or your guest home, because we were guests in their land. And I'm saying all that because it seems like no matter who I have conversations with or, try to just get a point across, I keep hearing the same things. Now, listen, I understand that. And what I hear the most is that's thrown out the most is, well, when we first got here, we were called African booty scratchers. And listen, I understand that. Now, I can honestly say the first time I actually heard the term African booty scratcher was in the movie Boys in the Hood. But maybe that's because, again, I grew up in Department of Defense schools and I was overseas and I was the immigrant in a foreign land and acting accordingly. But what we didn't do was run around and tell the Italians or the Germans or the Koreans or the Filipinos that they had no culture, that they were dumb, stupid, or lazy, as we literally went home in the kitchen at night and made pasta or cosplayed their music and everything about their culture. And see, these are the things I don't understand, because it's like when we tell you what you're doing, and there's no way that you can't tell me that you don't see it, but it's always an excuse. Well, what about when I was a kid and they called me an African booty scratcher? Okay, listen, intergenerational trauma. Trust me, it's a Black American and it is an ADOS. I get it. I understand it. We all working through it. It's called shadow work. But how are you trying to conflate what happens between children versus what's happening now with adults? Because we have grown ass adults who are teaching their children and future generations that it's okay to come into our home and violate us and disrespect us. And now that we finally said, you know what? Hold on, ease up, pause, slow down. We've had enough and we're starting to push back. It's almost like they've gotten so used to it that they're fucking shocked and befuddled. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like they're glitching. It's a little glitch in the matrix, because Black America is no longer doing what the liberals left tells us to do. That leads me to the whole ICE situation. I understand people's emotions and getting caught up in it, but it's not our fight. And what you have to stop doing is all this shit of, oh, you're next. News flash. We are Black Americans. What you call the police force started off as slave patrol. So what you're dealing with now, which is the ICE, to us, that's the equivalent of the Jump Out Boys. Or, I live in New York City in the Bronx, so we all know what TNT is, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we're used to these type of activities. We have always been harassed by local, state, and even government law enforcement, right? I mean, stop and frisk. Do we remember these things? Rodney King, Sean Bell, on and on. But all of a sudden, 2 whites obstructing justice get killed, and the whole country's in an uproar going crazy. Another thing is that you cannot come into someone's house and tell them what they are and who they are because you don't know the history. The United States of America, for sure, has been keeping records since 1776, but actually it goes back further than that. No lies being told. These are facts. Most of y'all come from countries that are barely 70 years old, but you're telling us that we don't know who we are. Well, let me explain something to you. Birth and death records in this country are public knowledge, it's public information, which means if you have your birth certificate and your mother and father are there, you can literally go through the public record and trace your genealogy. That's as easy as a fucking Google search. So how do you all get off coming from places that just became countries in the 60s and 70s and telling us we don't know who we are? We can literally trace through government documents what our genealogy and lineage is. But then you come to our house, you're wildly disrespectful. And then it's almost like, because you've gotten so used to it, it's like jump nigga jump, move nigga move. This is not our issue. And this is why delineation has become a must, because for so long we've heard about the 13%, right? Well, we see what's going on right now in Minnesota. Well, under the law, these people are listed as black, but they're not black Americans, and they always remove themselves. They don't want to align with us. They've been very clear about that. Even the founders of LULAC, even they said outright when they started LULAC, they didn't want to align with Negroes. So if you all, since 1968, the Civil Rights Act, in which black Americans in the Civil Rights Act, the Indian Rights Act, added immigration to that so y'all could come here. If you look at the numbers before 1968, before 1965, there was just a little over, or we say under, between 35, I don't think it was 35. We would just say between 35 and 40,000 Africans. We're talking about people from the continent of Africa now were in this country. So when you get on stage or you do anything and you say immigrants built this country, you are literally negating everything that our ancestors went through and that they did. And the bridge that they built and the road that they paved so you could leave the countries where you had no opportunity to come here, because these people don't want you around them. They put you in our communities. And we opened up the door and welcomely accepted, and we've been getting disrespected ever since. But now that we're given a little pushback, it's almost like y'all can't handle or understand, pardon me, y'all can't handle or understand why we are literally saying, listen, enough is enough, and this shit has to stop. And it's almost like y'all are literally saying, shut up and dribble. Just deal with it, darky. So my question is this then. Knowing what you all know, and you know what you do because you know the conversations you have amongst your family members and in your homes, what makes you any different than the white man that y'all complain about, right? I mean, asking for a friend. What makes your behavior? Black people can't help themselves. The niggas, the akatas, they don't know nothing. They don't know who they are. But when boot get put to ass, where are the black Americans? We need help. We need help. We're busy trying to figure out who our fathers are, trace our genealogy, learn who we are, and we're trying to get some culture. That's all. And listen, it's no disrespect, it's no hate, but you can't play in the people's face in their house and think that they're gonna continue to allow it, and they're gonna be no correction or no act right. And I always say this, and every time I say it to somebody, I always get, let's walk around the question. So this is my question. You flip all this. You imagine if 13% of the United States of America's population, black Americans, showed up in your home country of origin. And the government then gave us vouchers for housing, medical, food stamp benefits for free over the national average for actual American citizens. And nobody came through any port of entry. They were literally destroying their documents as they came across the border, which means we don't even know who these fucking people are. And then when the government decides, well, you know what, the immigration laws have never been actually followed, so now we're going to start actually enforcing them, which the 14th Amendment, which was abused by the liberal left and Democratic Party, that 14th Amendment that says anyone born here is an actual citizen, that was only for us. Now this whole pretending issue, we know who we are, we ain't got to argue about it, but I tell you this much, right? Who allows themselves to get continuously dog walked at home when they in the crib? Every time there's been a fight in this country for anything attached to any type of civil rights. You can even look at the gay civil rights agenda when it started in the village and the transgendered. That was started by a black transgendered woman. Nobody white, no immigrants black. Just like the Indian Rights Act, which got renamed the Civil Rights Act, which y'all get to immigrate over here under. And under color of law, still be white while still claiming minority status and playing in our faces. Black Americans. So my question is this. If the people on the reservations, they were really home, why don't they fight for shit in their own fucking land, much less even themselves? Now, this is by no means, I'm not trying to shit on anybody, or I'm just asking valid questions. And I'm trying to really figure out why, because I want to understand why, because what's happening right now should not be happening, period. And what happens if we get to that point of no return? Because so many things have been said on both sides. But what I think a lot of people aren't figuring out, or wanting to register is that you're not at home. That means we have home court advantage, right? If I walk in your house, I can't tell you to kiss my black ass and tell you to fuck off and think shit's sweet. Well, that's what you're doing. You walked into our house. You're getting free shit off of our blood, sweat, and tears, our tax dollars, and our legacy. And every chance you get on the grand stage and say, oh yeah, well, by the way, we built this country when none of y'all were here before 1968. And y'all have played in our faces so much that you got so bold that you started playing in their face. And you know what they told you? All right, simmer down. There's a hierarchy to this shit. We let you play in the American Negro, the ADOS, the Solon, the foundational Black American, the copper color races long enough. But now y'all got so bold, you think you can talk that shit to us. And now you're getting that wake-up call. And you're learning that there's a hierarchy to this shit. And you're wondering why we're all sitting back and we're watching. Because, as you said, Lulac, we do not want to align. This is not our fight. I'm not in the business of obstructing justice. And there are certain things you can, as a birthright citizen, lose your citizenship for. I'm telling you, they just gonna spin that block just like they did with the PPP loans. But anyways, I just wanted to touch on that. I'm gonna follow this up with a few clips. You pay attention and you tell me. And if anybody's got any answers for me, even any solutions, please, by all means, drop them in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me get out of here on that note. As I always say, realize. Transparency forces accountability. Y'all keep your eyes to the stars. Keep that head on the swivel. And hey, it is what it is, yo. It's a dirty game, but like I say, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. But y'all have been so blatantly disrespectful since 1968, when, I mean, just go on any social media network and see what the people in these nations, where these people are returning to, are actually saying. They don't even want their own people back. But we're expected to take everyone else's bullshit. It's not how this works, ladies and gentlemen. And we extended the olive branch first, and we got shitted on and slapped in the face. So as I say, it's no hard feelings. We're just reading the room now, and we're responding accordingly. Good luck to you all. And for those of you who are going to put your vessel on the line that belong to the same group that they tell you have no culture, Stockholm Syndrome is a real thing, and so is intergenerational trauma. Why are you fighting for someone that thinks you're ignorant, has no culture, is a complete fucking idiot? It's their footstool and basically their personal slave. They tell you to jump, and you put body on the line and do it. Body, sovereignty, freedom, and everything else. But yeah, y'all be safe out there.
There's one thing and one thing only that African people care about, including me myself. I come to your country. I don't care where it is. I am here to make money. That's just the sad reality. But it is the reality. Me as myself, when I went to Nairobi, when I lived in Kenya, I went to take. When I went to South Africa, I went to take. When I went to Dubai, I went to take. I did not go to build the countries. Because in my country where I come from, I am poor, and I left my country because there is nothing for me to do. I didn't see any ways of getting rich in my country, so I decided to come to other countries to do something for myself. So unfortunately, I can't tell my African American brothers and sisters that when African people come to America, expect them to build with you. No, we're here to take. We are here to take. The American government, like right now, it's welcoming immigrants like nobody's business. Every African person who is in a dire situation or who sees there's an opportunity for me to get a green card, they would do whatever it takes to come to America, knowing very well that the government right now is prioritizing foreigners instead of its own people, which is not my fault. My own business is to come there and grab whatever I can. And if your government is supporting me to take as much as I can, who am I to refuse? Who doesn't want to live in America? So don't be surprised when you see these African men or African women get with older men or older women just to get the green card. That is what we do because we are in a dire situation in our countries. So we are running away to come to your country so we can have a better life because, I mean, who does not know about the American dream? And then if we come and then Joe Biden pampers us and forgets that he has Democrats to take care of, it's none of our business. That's the reality. That's the reality. When we come there, don't expect us to build America for who? You have a lot we are here to take. That's the truth. And I know I might sound arrogant, but I'm not a person who sugarcoats the truth. So when we come to your countries, just know we are not here to have mercy on you. We are here to take.
I would have said the same thing about my own countries in the continent. We have no culture.
We have culture, we have influence, and no, I'm not just talking about weeds and turning them into collard greens or taking innards and turning them into chitterlings. I'm talking about the fact that we have persevered and we are the most copied individuals on the planet. So much so, if I'm wrong, please explain Akon to me. Please explain Burna Boy to me. They all do a variation of who we are. And I'm not just talking about music. I'm talking about the walk. I'm talking about the talk. I'm talking about the hairstyles. I'm talking about the innovation. Everything we do. We took a construction worker's boot and made it the hottest item for the past 40 years. Because everybody finds a way to profit off of what we create and then demonize us for creating it. And then label us criminals, uneducated, unwilling, we don't care. But they don't talk about all the systemic things that have been set up and profited by people who want to keep us in a certain box. That doesn't mean we can't escape that box. But to act like we were not put under duress for what we had to put together as a culture when everybody else got to inherit it. And that includes Haitians, Jamaicans, everybody else got to be left alone so that they could develop. We didn't have that. And to this day, when you talk about how the entertainment is weaponized, because that's the message, that's our largest export. It always has been. Our talent and our ability to entertain, but not capitalize on said entertainment. You can't point to one major black-owned record company. You can't point to one major black-owned media outlet. You can't point to one major media or technological distribution center that is controlled, owned, and managed by foundational black Americans. And so the message of foundational black Americans that gets out is not our message, and I completely reject that. If that's what you think the culture is, I am here to tell you that ain't my culture. It ain't never been my culture. It ain't been the culture of most of my brethren. Do we have some knuckleheads? Absolutely. Of course we do. But do we also have things like COINTELPRO we've still had to overcome? Do we have things like the 94 Biden-Clinton crime bill that we've had to overcome? And throughout history, I have yet to see anybody from any of those 54 countries come back for their brothers that they say that they love so much. I don't remember the warships coming to get us. I don't. When you talk about where we are and where we've been, you also have to talk about the mind screw that we have been put under.
Latinos of Los Angeles, can I read you a story? 10 years of terror. Anti-black violence conducted by Latino gangs in Los Angeles has been ongoing for more than a decade. A 1995 Los Angeles Police Department report about Latino gang activity in the Normandale Park neighborhood declared this gang has been involved in an ongoing program to eradicate black citizens from the gang neighborhood. Yes, eradicate black people. They didn't say black gang members. What do you mean by this? Well, you see, Hispanic gang members were targeting black people, not just black gang members. You don't believe me? Well, let's ask Louisa Prudhomme, as she holds one of the few remembrances she has of her 21-year-old son Anthony, who was shot to death while wearing a t-shirt that read, "Keep the peace." His father didn't even know it was racially motivated until the trial, were two Avenue gang members. Yes, Avenues is one of the biggest, oldest gangs in Los Angeles. Two Avenues gang members were found guilty of murder in a landmark civil rights case. Yes, civil rights violations. So while your uncles and cousins were in Pelican Bay and Folsom plotting against black people because of what other criminals did to you in there, do you not find that ironic?
I'm not going to say wasn't there because I wasn't there. But hip hop is an American culture. Hip hop is a New York City culture.
Finish.
Yeah.
Hip hop is Black American culture. It didn't start with anybody but us, and everybody else participated in that culture because hip hop is Black culture. When we first got on the microphone, and spit lyrics on the microphone, what was we talking about? We was talking about the injustice. No, you hold up, man. Let me get it out, because this is all facts. This is not what you want the definition to be. You can't create my definition. So when we got on the mic and spoke and spit rhymes, we talked about Black culture. We talked about being oppressed, slavery, okay, and killed by police, injustices, systematic racism. We wasn't talking about any. This is how hip hop spread it, brother. Hip hop was created out of poverty. It was created out of poverty. Wait a minute, I'm listening, and it's spread it again around the world. You understand? Okay. This is no. I conclude by saying it's Black culture, brother. Period. Hip hop and Black culture is one and the same. No. Hip hop is Black culture. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? You see a Chinese man, right? You see a Chinese man, but when you speak, no. You need to listen. When you speak, the way you dress, your mannerisms and everything, that's fucking Black man coming out of you, bro. Nothing about you is Chinese but the way you look. That's Black culture. What are you talking about?
What's the definition?
What are you talking about?
What is the definition?
Ain't nothing about you Chinese but the way you look. Everything about you is me.
Of culture.
Everything about you is me, bro.
What?
And you ain't taking accountability. What I'm just saying is we have respect for everybody else's culture and know our rightful place and give respect. We let China give y'all comfortability. Y'all just take advantage. And now you claiming it. Like, be a part of it. But know your place.
Bro, what's the definition?
Why don't you feel comfortable dressing in African gear?
Oh, in public?
Yeah.
It's kind of like...
That's crazy.
Let me tell you why. I don't even wear it for like family weddings and special occasions. I wouldn't be wearing it outside
so
in public.
Why are you only African when you with your family? But outside of your family, you're Black American.
I wasn't,
you know what?
I wasn't going like that. Like,
and the reason I asked you this is because right now you're young.
Yeah, sure.
You get to really ask yourself these questions when you're growing up. Like, why am I only acting African when I'm on my African family, but when I'm outside,
you don't really act African?
Yeah.
When you say acting, you talking about like what we dress. I know I claim and I act African, like in a way. Do you know what I mean? But
you don't act African. You got tied it up. This is not.
No, but like, you know what it is?
Not African, bro.
I wasn't born and raised there. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was born and raised here.
But it's your culture. Like, it's your.
It's true.
You home, you eat food with it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you probably don't even talk like this.
Oh, if I speak to my mom?
Yeah. I know some Africans switch up their dialect.
They do.
You know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean.
You do that out here. Like,
yeah. We do that. Even when we're out.
You code switch.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's just maybe.
Oh, why?
Care about nationalities. It's all about the personality to me.
You just said
No. I'm sorry. I can't do Americans. I need somebody with culture. I'm sorry.
Black Americans got culture.
This is Chinese people cosplaying Black people. Like this dude. So this is DP Longzhu, and the other guy is Ma Sui. They both made bags in the rap music industry. Chengdu kinda become a center for rap music in China since 2010. The city Chengdu is the center of pop culture in China. Hot Pot, Panda, and a lot of consumer culture are all from Chengdu. As I mentioned, the history of this place is built by immigrants inside China. When that's happening, unfortunately, during the last 10 years, China has become drastically more restricted on culture. There aren't many international collaboration from Chinese artists to the rest of the world. It's banned by the government. Yet the Chinese audience do have appreciation and a big demand for different culture products. I personally think their music sounds cool, but it's not cool. Their music and performance is more like a shell without a spirit. It sounds like rap music, but it's not music. I know people are talking about AmericaCorps. This is a music video I came across yesterday. This is not a convenience store in the hood in the United States. They're Chinese people in China. Yeah, this is... I wouldn't call this cultural appropriation. This is way beyond cultural appropriation. This is Chinese people cosplaying black people. Like this dude, you can't tell he's Asian at all. The music, the attire, the fashion, including the background, they try to make it look very America. I can explain in another video why this happens, but it definitely blew my mind.
Everybody around the world copies African Americans and then yet disrespects them. GPS is a black woman. Well, 3D imaging is a black woman. Laser eye surgery is a black woman. Escalators a black inventor. Elevators a black inventor. The roller coasters, the cell phone, our video games is Jerry Lawson. ADT, our security system, is a black woman in Queens. Mary Van Brighton in 1966, she invented the home security. You talking about open heart surgery, Daniel Hale, plasma, Charles Drew. We can keep going. Surgical equipment, black people inventing, just constantly inventing, and they took everything and lied. And black people are still thriving. Black women have the highest degrees in America. These are the same women that were operated on with no anesthesia, but they're #1 in academics. The atrocities that African Americans have been through, I'm surprised we are this peaceful.
You have a whole place dedicated to slavery in Ghana.
Is America safe to live?
Yes.
Have your peace of mind?
Yes.
Because a lot of time we hear bad news in the news. Like in a school, somebody can pick a gun, go to a school and then shoot.
That happens in Africa as well. What? Yes, they do. You have whole wars happening in Africa. Yes. Congo is in a whole war right now.
No,
yes, it is.
We don't have that in Ghana.
Not in Ghana. You have a whole place dedicated to slavery in Ghana. A whole place.
No, that was
all right, hold on. You say is America safe because you see a lot of different stuff, right? Yeah. This country was built over stealing, killing, and everything, and you're here. This whole country's history.
It's not like that anymore.
What? The Queen just died. The Queen still holds control over a lot of your countries. Yeah. You know, so this is the most dangerous place in Europe right now. This is.
Oh, yes.
Let me tell you some truth. In the United Kingdom.
You saying from here?
Yeah. American.
Right?
Yeah.
First, let's talk about what foundational Black Americans are. So the term refers to a concept coined by activist and filmmaker Tariq Nasheed. It's used to describe Black individuals in the United States who are descendants of African people enslaved in the U.S. prior to the abolition of slavery in 1865. Here we go. I want to start off with you, Shelley.
My never to be humble opinion is that this movement is a way to further segregate and divide Black people, give me a second, and have these FBAs use this one as a good separation technique or a good segregation technique. Now, let me say this. I don't give a damn who you associate with, who you want to be called, or what group. I don't really care. But I think this particular issue is a way for, I'm going to say, maybe more conservatives to use as, oh, I'm separating myself because I am a slave or have ancestors that were slaves or whatever. I don't care. Ultimately, I am a foundational Black American. I was born here.
And, you know, a lot of people talk about being separate and all of this other stuff. Well, look, you could do that now. Find yourself an island in the South Pacific and just go be separate. But most people don't even know how to feed themselves without a supermarket. So that's something that would break down very quickly.
Now, these foundational Black Americans, the authority, whoever they are, I've never heard of such. And no, you may not claim me in your group, you know, just because I happen to be born an American, right? Born an American with beautifully melanated skin, but American nonetheless. right? We're not going to start dividing ourselves into these little pockets that make it easier for people to take advantage of other people.
And let me tell you something. I'm sick of FBAs. Okay.
I'm sick of them too. I'm just sick of people begging all the damn time.
Yeah. You can actually walk down Baltimore and step in human feces, and it's generally from an FBA. Okay. So
transplant. Leave New York City. It's no reason why y'all are complaining about Caribbean music being played when Jamaican, Haitians, and Trini run majority of this city. And the Dominicans. I'm not gonna forget the Dominicans and the Puerto Ricans too. Get out of here, because there's no reason why I should be seeing on Twitter people complaining about Caribbean music at a party in New York. I don't know if I'll remember, but this city is literally the Caribbean.
Lord, family. All right, let's get some little straightening in. It's funny how these folks run everywhere but they homeland. Huh? How the hell you gonna run an American city but you couldn't run your homeland? You ran from it. That's what she might have meant. That's what she might have meant, family. She might have meant them Caribbean folks. They ran from their homeland. They're runners. I think that's what she was talking about, family. I know she ain't talking about how they run an American city. What do Caribbean folks run in New York? Okay? Let's be clear. A lot of these folks, they come over and they think, shout out to Brother Tariq Nasheed, because he said this once upon a time. He said that a lot of these Black immigrants, what happens is they get into close proximity with Black Americans. They start developing a significant population around Black Americans, and they start to soak up our cultural influence and then try to pass it off as their own. Okay? These folks ain't running nothing in New York City, okay? They couldn't even run their homeland. They just simply ran to New York City. Let's be clear, family.
Me with my mother being an American Black woman and my father being a Jamaican man from Jamaica, I can say that my father's side of the family looked at Black Americans a certain way, and they already had in their mind, whether they said it on social media or not. We could sit here and make it seem like it's an illusion, but all other groups of Black people, which we're all Black, we tend to look down on Black Americans. If you go to, they're like, oh, we come out here and this, that, and you guys are lazy. Y'all don't do shit. Oh, y'all just on welfare, when Black people are not even the most on welfare. This whole mindset of Black people being lazy when we built America.
It's just a way to push this stereotype, to give other cultures the green light to be disrespectful towards Black Americans, and also not to question the system.
I'm not gonna speak for my whole country, love Jamaica, but I think quite a few Jamaicans think that you guys play the victim a lot. Like an outsider looking in, it's like, gosh, them complain about everything. Look how much opportunity them have. Look how them can work. Look how them can buy $1 burger. And them over there complain. And that is how I was preconditioned, if I'm being totally honest. They're like, Shantae,
makes sense.
Yeah, don't go over there and waste the opportunity. Don't go over there and start complaining. Work for your own, focus on that. So that's always been my mindset. We're so focused on just making it. I really want to emphasize that. But sometimes when you just are focused on, oh, you go eat, you not think say somebody a touch you. You not think say, oh, I'm not have the right temperature. I'm hungry. What y'all gonna do? Like, you're
just pause. Just to translate, she was talking about when when you're focused, when you're so hungry, you're not worried about who's doing this or that. You're just trying to eat. You just gotta get the food, put it in your mouth, and then get to work so you can go eat again, right? Just to translate that, because I know some of y'all probably lost. Just want to clarify that.
And we'll have subtitles if needs be, right? Daniel?
No, you got me. I'm right here. It is our job, or it's everybody's job, to be able to grow up and be able to see through other lenses and other perspectives without having to live that experience.
I know, get it. And I think a lot of Jamaicans don't get that because they have never been here and they don't live the life of a Black American.
I want to switch topics, but because this is a very controversial talking point on the internet, right? I go on TikTok, and I see a lot of UK people speaking about Black Americans. Right? So what a lot of people, the UK, Africans, Caribbeans, a lot of their talking points is Black Americans or FBAs don't have culture. What do you say to those people who say that?
That's a projection. That's a projection because we are the culture here. Our lineage goes back to this country longer than the lineage to their country because their countries are relatively new, especially over there in West Africa. Not just West Africa, all of Africa. Many of those countries were basically created in the 1800s at the Berlin Conference. So they don't have a deep, rich culture. That's why a lot of them have to leave because of a lot of tribalism. They're not as deeply rooted as they're supposed to be. So they do a lot of projecting onto us. Our culture is so deeply rooted here. Everything about American culture that is good comes from foundational Black Americans. True. The food, the dance, the slang, the sports, the entertainment.
They try to say you can't use those examples nowadays.
Why can't we? Foundational Black Americans created the modern doorknob. We created the modern toilet. We created modern dry cleaning. So many things that we created. We created the modern home security system. I mean, we've had 50,000 patents. We can claim all of this stuff. All of the music genres was created by foundational Black Americans. We are the culture. And they know this because if you go to their countries, they're acting like us. We're not acting like them. They got on baseball hats and Nike shoes and stuff that we're wearing.
That's right.
90-degree weather.
Right. They ain't wearing kente cloth sweatpants. They're wearing Nikes and Adidas like we're wearing.
Right.
Yeah?
True. So even when you went to say about how the countries in West Africa, like I've seen an old map of Africa before they had the invisible lines with the borders with the countries, and like you said, those countries didn't exist until like the time frame you said. So when I hear this this conversation, and I think you seen one of our clips, was a Haitian woman, and she was like,
I definitely remember that.
She was sitting on the couch and she was just like, I can't date a Black American because Black Americans don't have any cultures, and that one just went crazy online because it just. While she's dressed like an American Black woman, she's sitting there talking about Black Americans don't have, you know what I mean? So that is always a kind of divisive talking point in the diaspora.
And they can never tell us what their culture is. Because when people call up to our lives and start talking about culture, I ask, what is your culture? They can never give an answer. You understand? We can give answers to what our culture is, all of the music and the foods. We can give that, but they can't really give an answer to what their culture is. And that's no disrespect to our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. We got love for you. But those who come over and try to denigrate us and project this weird thing, we will check them.
Why is it so easy for everyone to attack, the culture of Black Americans?
The thing is, this is the game they play. With us, we are so inclusive. We share our culture with everybody. We're too damn nice. That's been the problem. Because whenever we do something, we say, okay, we chop it up to just global Africanness. We've been on that. So if we do something positive, we'll say, hey, our African brothers, we got it, probably from some tribe or whatever. We'll share it with everybody. For a long time, we were sharing hip hop with the Caribbeans because they were like, well, Caribbeans help do it. And we're like, not really, but we'll share. We're all Black. We had that type of thing. And that was a mistake. Because what happens is a lot of these people who didn't create anything, we give them something, then they take it for granted and then say, hey, you know what? I did it and y'all didn't do shit and y'all ain't got no culture and we do. And we're saying, hey, we ain't playing that game no more.
I'm an African American with Cherokee heritage. My great-grandmother, Phyllis Thompson Pettit, was a slave of the Cherokees.
It's a little-known chapter in American history. The Cherokees were one of 5 Indian tribes whose members owned slaves.
So what were those slaves doing for the Cherokee Nation?
They were agricultural laborers. They were also individuals who worked as domestic slaves.
But in 1866, the Cherokees freed their slaves. They signed a treaty guaranteeing that all freedmen and their descendants would, quote, have all the rights of native Cherokees. Today, that treaty is at the center of a controversy involving nearly 3,000 African Americans. On August 22nd, Cherokee Nation kicked them out of the tribe.
The Treaty of 1866 did not give citizenship to the freedmen nor their descendants.
Diane Hammonds is the Attorney General for Cherokee Nation.
The heart of the issue is whether or not an Indian tribe can determine who is eligible to be a member of that tribe.
In 2007, Cherokee Nation passed a law requiring proof of Indian blood to be a member. The proof is based on a record that was created a century ago called the Dawes Rolls. The Freedmen say the Dawes Rolls are wrong because they were based on how you looked.
If you looked black, they wrote Cherokee Freedmen. If you looked not black, they wrote Cherokee.
Many freedmen were of mixed Cherokee and African blood, but on the rolls they were listed with no Indian blood.
It comes as a great shock, around the age of 5 or 6 or 7, to discover that the flag to which you have pledged allegiance, along with everybody else, has not pledged allegiance to you. It comes as a great shock to discover that Gary Cooper killing off the Indians when you were rooting for Gary Cooper, that the Indians were you. It comes as a great shock to discover that the country, which is your birthplace, and to which you owe your life and your identity, has not in its whole system of reality evolved any place for you.
On the other hand, we are the only true inheritors of the place called America.
That's right. That's right. It belongs to us.
Because we are still outside of it.
It belongs to us, and there's nobody can do anything about that.
And we will get it. If we continue to move. I think it's a guilt.
In ways that one can't quite see yet. We already have it. That's one of the reasons for the panic.
We have to effect it.
Yes.
But we have to know it, and we have to make sure that everybody else.
We have to change it.
Sure.
South and West Side homeowners are angry. They believe the city has overextended itself and should be putting the tens of millions of dollars earmarked for migrants into Chicago's most vulnerable neighborhoods.
But the South Side has been under-resourced, underfunded for years, for decades. We have schools that need to be reopened. We have buildings that are abandoned that need to be business operated.
The group says the city has abandoned its Invest Southwest initiative, a Lightfoot-era program that was dedicated to reversing decades of disinvestment on Chicago's South and West Sides, promising to align more than $2.2 billion through public and private funding.
We are taxpayers, we're property owners. Our money should go towards fixing our communities.
The city has received more than 15,000 migrants since August 2022.
We have no more room. Y'all are embarrassing Chicago as a whole.
According to analysis by the ABC7 data team, there are more than 20 active migrant shelters across the city, 7 located on the South and West Sides.
Whether it's one shelter or whether it's 10 shelters, we're saying the facilities that are there for us, the money needs to be put into those facilities for us.
In a statement from the mayor's office about the group's concerns and the status of Invest Southwest, a spokesperson says in part, quote, "We are committed to continued investment for all residents, but especially communities on the South and West Sides that have long experienced disinvestment. We are the city of Chicago, and our shoulders are big enough to support both new arrivals and those who have long called this city home."
Mayor Johnson, the black aldermen, the black alderwomen in this city, you will stand for the black citizens of Chicago.
The Indian Civil Rights Act of 1968. These are the people who were there for the signing of it. They look a lot like our ancestors, your grandfathers, your great-grandfathers, your uncles. You know what I'm saying? Like, these were the people here for the signing of the Indian Civil Rights Act that came out, that was signed a week after the death of Martin Luther King Jr. Where's the Native Americans? You don't see them. You only see American Indians. And one day, I have to go into how the American Indian and the Native American is different, but I just wanted to show you, these were the people there for the signing of this act, the American Indians.
Get in here, get in here, get in here. I'm about to reveal something that President Trump knows, that a lot of people might not know, that went over a lot of people's heads. And you ask yourself a question: what do Trump knows that I don't know? Well, I know, but you're about to know. If you look at this picture, what color they is? You guessed it. copper color, right? Now, if you look at this, it says a lot. More than you can even realize. Let's read together. The Indian Citizenship Act of 1924 was an act of the United States Congress declared indigenous persons born within the United States are citizens. Did you catch that? Did you catch that? Now, you're about to learn what Donald Trump and why he going after the Native Americans. This is where it gets real juicy. Pay very close attention. The statement is correct. The 1924 Indian Citizenship Act did not use the term Native Americans and instead referred to individuals as Indians. Did you catch that? Did you catch that? Moment of silence. So if you'd like to donate $1, I greatly appreciate it.
You had your sound system working in New York from up to then?
No, I was attending junior high school.
Yeah, I see.
I was around 13 years old back then.
Okay. But then you started your sound system.
I started to go to parties when I was around 16 years old.
Yeah.
And around 18, 19, that's when I started to experiment with my own sound system, as far as building a sound system.
And
now this was like 73.
Names out now.
So 73, 74.
At 70, technically it's 70. They just started to say break ground in 73. It ain't going nowhere now. They've been knocking it from say 70, 71. It ain't going nowhere now. We ain't gonna stop now.
You and your crew were playing out. There were several sound systems. No. The sound systems, the Jamaican sound systems were very prevalent in the tri-state area. Were you aware of those crews?
No.
And did they play with you at all in the clubs?
No, never.
So African Love, Downbeat,
but never was in their in a space that they was at. Or no.
No way, no shape, form, or fashion. Okay.
The names I could tell you for a sound system is on the U.S. side. That the Smith brothers, respect them. Soul Brothers from out of Brooklyn, should play at Nell Gwen's, respect them.
That's what I'm talking about.
I don't know if it's a Jamaican crew, but I know the Soul Brothers play at Nell Gwen's at 42nd Street.
Okay.
And they have brothers like Plummer, LaBoya, Flowers, and the Disco Twins. And their boys was really into technology and big, heavy sound. With me,
yeah. So other than like the weather and the environment, what about the culture? How hard was it for you to get into the culture?
It was, well, I could say one thing. It wasn't fashionable being a Jamaican at one point. It wasn't.
Right.
And I never had my culture. Really, I never did. Well, I was getting Americanized, though. I stopped.
Kasongo, yeah. Kasongo, Songari, oh, yeah. Songo Bonawewo Mobali Nagai
13th, 1923 in Providence, Rhode Island on the steps of the Museum of Natural History. It shows the Council of Algonquin Indians, where leaders from several tribes gathered to discuss cultural survival, rights, and unity. This was not one tribe. This was Wampanoag, Narragansett, Penobscot, Passamaquoddy, Nipmuc, Pequot, and other Algonquin-speaking peoples coming together. At a time when many claimed the tribes had disappeared, these leaders stood publicly to show their nations were
Ain't no white supremacy, American supremacy. You don't want to fight for the real ethnocide of this country, the American Indian, the displaced black people, take y'all home.
What's the message for?
America only.
Are these yours?
1865, no.
Okay,
if you ain't been here since 1865, go on and sit down. Go sit down. We don't need to talk to you. We don't need your help. We don't need your services. 1865, now and forever. Because we're going to cut this out. 14th Amendment will become. It ain't for everybody. You ain't posterity. Go home. Go home. Wherever that is, when it ain't here.
Are we talking about...
everybody go home.
Yes, we're talking about...
Everybody go home.
Who is the everybody?
Everybody. You know, because you ain't from here.
Are we
you ain't. If you can't do what I got, paperwork, just stay here. Go back where you came from. That includes you too.
Hey, I am legal here, ma'am.
I don't care about legal or illegal.
Okay.
Denaturalization can happen.
Yes, I understand.
Go home.
That. Yes, I understand.
Go home.
Yes,
you want to
ma'am.
help me? Go home.
All right.
You want to help me? Go home. Wherever that home is, go.
All right.
Ain't no white supremacy, American supremacy. Right?
American supremacy.
And if you don't know what an American is, then I don't know what to tell you. Because I know this one, looking like that ain't no American. The original picture look like me. Sick of y'all, too cold out here. Go to hell home. Go to hell home. Take y'all ass home. Everybody go home. Everybody go home.
No more money for you. Bye bye, bye bye, bye bye.
Go back, across the
No more money for you. No more money for you. It's lazy, you lazy. You lazy. No more money for you. Take your black ass home.
We're here to arrest a child sex offender. And you guys are out here honking.
Oh, we're not. No, we're pressed. No, we're not.
That vehicle right there is honking and impeding our investigations while we're trying to arrest a child sex offender. That's who you guys are protecting. Insane.